Hi, Mary. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Lori. Just getting over the flu, but pretty close to the end of that.
Well, I'm getting over one cataract surgery, so we're almost even.
So we're even. We're
So,
even.
so I wanted to talk with you about how you're going to be on our cruise ship with the Three Ps at Sea.
I love that name.
I didn't make it up. Side Out Adventures. I could pretend I did that, but uh, Greg's Greg Sucky is very good at that stuff. So anyway, that's why I'm glad he's on my team. So please tell me what has got you so excited about being one of the speakers on our cruise.
Well, first of all, I'm in very good company among the speakers. That goes without saying. Um, and I also think it'll give me the opportunity to talk with people about a couple of things that have been on my mind recently. One of them has to do with something that I hear really frequently in some of the discussion groups, which is that people feel like they're stuck in an intellectual understanding of the three principles, and they're not really seeing or feeling the effects of that understanding, I guess, as much as they would like in their daily life. So that's one. And the other is kind of this idea of what it means to be in the flow of life. And in some ways, those things cross over quite a bit. And so I foresee, the discussion kind of evolving along those lines. But really, this notion that people are, they get the principles, because they're not hard to understand, they do get them, but they're not really seeing how that plays out on a daily basis. How does that help them to be less worried or less concerned about a relationship or money or whatever it might be? And how do they have more of a feeling of peace running through their daily life instead of being caught up in kind of old familiar thinking? So that's definitely something that I would like to talk about, sort of top of mind for me at the moment.
I love that. And I love that the flow, and here we are on a boat.
Right.
Got more of that flow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I feel like what happens is that, and this is why I think these two things are connected for me. I think that what has happened for me is that to continue the water metaphor, when I took a really deep dive into these principles and immersed myself in this, I kind of came out the other side with a very different impression of what it means to be in the flow of life and what it means to experience life and be part of life, but not have this feeling that life was coming at me anymore, which is how it used to look to me.
Right.
And it seems to me that people who are kind of still intellectualizing these principles and who don't feel this kind of more natural flow of life may still be seeing the world mostly that way, as if it is something out there. And I actually don't think it takes much to help people to get through that. It seems to me that it's about helping them to listen in a different way to what they're hearing.
Yeah.
And to kind of tap into parts of themselves that don't get used very often. Because we're so used to listening in a certain way and processing information in a certain way. And I don't find that particular way of taking this in to be very helpful. I don't know about you, but.
No. And I know that if I've got a busy mind, then I'm not a very good listener.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm not really present with the other person, then I'm only getting, you know, very, very little is actually coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So I love what you're saying. Mm.
Yeah, and it's not so easy for people to have a quiet space to listen from. You know, especially when someone is, and I don't want to overstate this, but you know, a lot of people are pretty desperate to feel better.
Yes, yes.
And when people are exposed to the principles and they're coming at it from that feeling of desperation, that's really, unfortunately, kind of stopping them from hearing this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise in between.
Yeah.
And so one of my aims really for not just for this cruise, but for the next year, I kind of decided this a couple of days ago, is that I really want to help people get past that barrier, that kind of intellectual barrier. I want to just help them over or through or around or however we get past it.
Yeah, but it's definitely one of the things that early on in my looking at the principles more, I saw that that was a stumbling block for me too. So to have a deeper understanding of that, to get out of the intellect and into the heart, that's how I say it, or into your wisdom, then life does flow a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you stop trying to fight things that you can't fight anyway.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Like if I look back over the last year of my life, nothing went the way that I thought it was going to. Literally nothing did. And I was sort of laughing about that a couple of days ago. You know, I was just, because it really is funny to me looking back how I thought, okay, first this is going to happen, and then my husband and I are going to do this, and then this is going to. None of that took place. None of it. And I thought to myself, you know, if I didn't have this understanding that I have, I think I would have had a majorly stressed time. Like, I think I would have really gone off the deep end a few times because of events that occurred that were very unexpected. And, you know, everything from losing my job to having a major financial problem to my father-in-law passing away to my daughter having major medical issues, you know, to deciding we have to move. I mean, it was kind of like, how many things, you know, can happen in 12 months? And yet I haven't really felt particularly stressed. I've had like moments of sort of acute stress, but nothing approaching anything kind of long-term daily worries or anything. So this has been a very interesting year for me to look at in that way. And I think it's why it's become something that I want to try to help people with even more.
I love that. Thank you, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Look forward to seeing you on the cruise.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be my first cruise ever. I'm a cruise newbie.
I love cruises. That's why I invented this business, because I thought, what better way is it to pair things that I love to do with three principal events? I get to meet all these incredible speakers and coaches and change workers. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you later.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.